What authorities are saying is that the autopsy has revealed this to be accidental drowning. What was your reaction to that, and how do we know that?
Well, obviously there were findings at the autopsy that would have given them an indication that this young woman would have drowned. And just so that we understand, one of the things we look for at autopsy, particularly when we find bodies that are submerged, are going to be the weight of the lungs. There's a standard weight dependent upon the person's size, and for her, she's roughly 16 years of age, slightly built, and there's an expectation she's going to fall within certain ranges, and that is the weight of her lungs. This is something that's long established. So when you begin to get up into those higher estimates, that is one indicator regarding weighted lungs, where the lungs are heavily congested, and there's indication that she would have been in respiratory failure as a result of being in this aquatic environment. That's part of it. Now you can wind up drowning in any number of ways, and that doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're drowned that it's an accidental death. However, there was not any other indication on the part of the ME to give them pause to think that this is anything other than an accidental death. And so listeners understand, we in the medical legal community go in with the working assumption that every death, and I mean every death, I don't care how benign it might appear on the surface, every death is a homicide until proven otherwise, because you can't unring the bell, to use one of those lawyer terms you guys like to use. You can't unring it. You can't go back and get a do-over. So they kind of tick the boxes relative to this, and that's what they came up with. I'm very very curious to read the full autopsy report, though.
Let's get into this. So you said that there are not other outward signs to indicate foul play, that this was murder. I want to get into that because her body was bloated, it was livid, it was decomposing, so much so that it couldn't be identified due to the decomposition that was present on the face. Now, it's indicated that there were no signs of significant external or internal injuries. From a layperson's point of view, I'm thinking, well, if there is this level of decomposition and damage to the body, maybe there were injuries, but we just can't
There's
see it.
ethanol, which is essentially her alcohol content, which I think was 0.088, which is just over legal limit. But alcohol or ethanol is actually produced in the decomposition process. So it's kind of hard. And she had been down for a while. So it's kind of hard to kind of, separate those two. But we do know she had THC in her system. So was she impaired in her driving? I think that factored into it too as well, Jesse.
Yeah, because she was last seen at a party in the Tahoe National Forest area. Again, whatever the circumstances of this are, it is a complete tragedy, and you just wish this never would have happened.